There's no baseball to have on the TV in the background tonight. It's terrible. Got the match game on Pluto TV. Well, the Cardinals can't lose tonight. You a Braves fan?
Yeah, I mean, by default, I don't watch a lot of live sports because we don't even have, I have to steal YouTube Live from my parents so we can watch the Georgia game. So I'm a big Georgia fan. That's the only Georgia football is the only thing I watch.
Nice. Zoo here all the way, but yeah, Georgia.
See that.
We had you guys in Como last time, and then I had to open my mouth in the fourth quarter, and God, he tackled us on the 3. He was in. So happy. God, that's the story of a Mizzou fan, man. We're always that close to our dreams. Anyway,
that's how I felt the last time I rooted for the Falcons, I think.
Oh my God! I mean, yeah, the Falcons fan, the Mizzou fan. I think we have a lot in common. I feel you there. I totally feel you. Hey, everybody! Happy Wednesday night. We're hanging out with Alex here. He's down in Atlanta, getting ready to record our show for Monday. He is an expert on traveling to the Disney destinations with kids and getting your money's worth and all the good stuff. Where's your site so people can check it out while we're recording?
SecondDadToTheRight.com.
So if you want to check that out as we record, you can do that. Shout out to Susan over on Instagram, who's one of my great guests over at the Magic for Less, who I know loves Disney cruises. And I have not all day said that this time last week I was in St. Thomas. I've been saying that all day. And I'm in St. Peter's today, which is not the same as St. Thomas because St. Peter's is in Missouri. Boring. But I did have Mexican, even though last Wednesday we found a beautiful Mexican restaurant right on the pier of St. Thomas called Agave. Rocked. But here, not so much. But what are you going to do? God, got it. So you've cruised, right? What ships have you cruised?
We've done all of the original ships except for we're going to do the Dream in January. So we've done twice on the Fantasy, once on Magic, and once on Wonder.
Nice. Yep. Fantasy's my favorite ship. Dream's basically the same ship, so you'll love that. And yeah, I've been on the Magic since the very first year, 98. We're going to sell that again next summer for the podcast.
We made the mistake of accidentally going right before it went into dry dock, so I didn't get to see all the updates. But this time I accidentally booked the Dream for right after it comes out of dry dock.
Good call. You'll get all that new, most of the stuff I'm never going to see because it's like concierge upgrades. I'm not that.
Oh, I'm not. No.
But the food court stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like the upgrades, the quick service dining. Now that's me right there. I love that idea. So yeah, I'm all about that.
And my daughter's going to be going into Vibe for the first time. So the fact that they're making a brand new one is nice.
Yeah. I mean, so my daughter, because we just got back and Mallory's 16 and we brought my niece who's 15. We never saw them during the whole cruise. We saw them at dinner. That was it. It was dinner threw into the show 3 times, and then that was it. Basically, when we saw them. And they came in every night about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Or is it which one's the preteen one? Is it Edge or Vibe?
Edge. Yeah, it's Edge.
My daughter's first time in Edge. She just turned 11. So.
Yeah, they love that. I mean, I'm talking. They do a good job apparently because they love it.
Yeah. Apparently, it's gonna be a ball pit. We'll see if they can keep the stomach viruses at bay.
Yeah. Oh my God, Chuck E. Cheese on the seas.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. This is episode 25. All right, let's do this. Let's see here. All right. Hopefully my voice holds up. 25. Here we go. All right. Welcome to episode 2525 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and so glad you are back here with us on the show. We're going to get this week kicked off again the right way with a fun trip report. And today we're going to kind of bounce around to the Disney destinations, maybe talk a little Walt Disney World. I'm missing my Disney cruise lines. We're going to mix in a little Disney cruise line as well for all of our folks who would rather be headed out to sea than maybe navigating a desk here on a Monday morning. I don't know how that is. I'm doing the same thing. But we're also going to get some tips from an expert when it comes to traveling with kids to the Disney destinations, because I know that has been a hot topic over in the Be Our Guest podcast clubhouse. I've noticed over the past couple of days, we've been talking a lot of strollers actually in the clubhouse. And I'll tell you what, I had my pick, but I'm so old at this point. My youngest is 16. You guys know Mallory. It's probably like an Edsel at this point. I don't even know if they make that stroller. It was called a McLaren. I paid $200 for it a long time ago, and I still can't believe I paid that for an umbrella stroller. So we're going to get some advice today from an expert. So we're heading down to the Atlanta area. Alex joining us from Second Dad to the Right. Alex, happy Monday. What's going on?
Hey, not much, just getting ready to go to Disneyland for the first time. But as far as strollers, I am a huge proponent of the Bob, which is far more expensive than the McLaren that still exists. But we've had ours for 10 years. It's made it through all three of our kids, and it's still much faster than everybody else's stroller at rope drop.
Yeah, built for speed, right? Ka-chow?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, it's got air in the tires. I can lock the front wheel, push it with one hand. Back when the fast passes were around, man, and you had to get from one ride to the next and you had 10 minutes to go, I would put them both in a single stroller and we would just fly.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I made the, two dads here talking about, you have your dreams and you think how things are going to go, right? So I had two kids, but I was a stepdad for Paige, right? So I kind of came in when she was like 3 or 4, so I didn't know what was going on. And thankfully, I kind of learned on the fly there with her. But then Mallory was, I was there from day one, right? I'm dad. So we register at the Babies R Us. I don't think that's even around anymore, but Babies R Us, you got the gun, you're going around, you're shooting everything, and then you have the shower and everybody buys all stuff for you. So, of course, I drive a Jeep Wrangler, right? So what did I register for was this stroller that was made by Jeep. I mean, it was legitimately made by Jeep.
Right.
Like it had the logo on it and everything. This thing was honking big stroller. Like it had the inflatable tires. I mean, this thing it was like a 4x4. We got it. We probably used it 3 times because it was so enormous. And then I had to, be smart about it because I didn't want to be that dad that when the bus was pulling up at the corral at Pop Century, because we've all seen that dad, that mom, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle that just gets that deer in the headlight looks like, oh no, how do you fold this up? And if you can actually figure out like the Rubik's Cube, how to fold the sucker up, the thing's so big, you can't even get it on the bus. These are things that you really do need to think about if you have kids going to Walt Disney World.
And that's the benefit of owning the stroller is that you know how to break it down. The Bob's it's not a one-hander. So if you're renting it, you need to practice. The City Minis, which is it's the second most popular single stroller, but the most popular double stroller. Those are a little easier to fold up.
I still can't believe that Mike Rahman paid $200 for an umbrella stroller back in the day. I can't believe it, but I will.
You don't even want to know what the Bobs and the City Minis cost.
You know what? Maybe you'll probably agree with me. It sounds like, but that $200 that we spent on that was probably some of the best money we ever spent because, like you said, that thing went on the cruises with us. That thing went to Walt Disney World with us probably at least 15 times. And I mean, just performed beautifully. I mean, Mallory slept in the thing. It had the cover. It would rain. She was the only one that stayed dry. We got drenched 100 times. She stayed dry like a princess. And we passed it on. It was still in beautiful shape when we didn't need it anymore. We gave it to another family. And you know what? Like we just never had to think about it. It was light as a feather, folded up great. It was a one-hander. It was beautiful. So, I mean, yeah, I think like just real quick, we'll get on to the other Disney talk, but if you're a new parent, and we have a lot of new parents in the audience, shout out Katie, by the way. But when you're looking for that stroller, it's an investment, right? And I think a lot of things are investments when it comes to our Disney trips. You're thinking, I could probably get away with a $30 or $40 stroller or maybe a rental, but maybe just bite the bullet and get it right off the bat and you have it for the lifetime of the child, that they're going to be in that time they need it and just pass it on later on. That's what we did.
Yeah, it came in handy for us because my youngest daughter turned 7 was almost 7 when we had our COVID surprise boy. So she was just to where it was weird to put her in a stroller at the parks, and then all of a sudden we had to use it again. So
pull it out of storage.
I mean, that thing, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of miles we put on that thing because we jogged in it.
Well, so let's kind of go back to the beginning here. So give us a little background on your story. You know, you're a family man, and you got the kids, and you're a Disney fan. So you're here, and you got your site. So how does this story start for you?
So for us, so my wife and I both only went to Disney World a couple times when we were kids, and we'd always talked about doing it. And then finally, when our girls were 4 and 2, we finally decided to go. And what happened was I wanted to run a Spartan race in Tampa. It was like they have like the trifecta. So the longest race they didn't have up in Atlanta. So I wanted to go down to Tampa, and I said, "Hey, I'll take you to Disney World for one day if you'll come watch me run the race." And she said, "Sure." But it turned into Disney World for a week. It turned into the kids and her mom and her grandmother coming. And then I had to run the race after that. And they were all confused as to why I wouldn't go run the race. But it, and that was the weirdest weather experience too, because it was 55 and raining in December. But then I just got completely addicted. And so we started saving up and then going. And then my wife is an ACT, SAT tutor, and her business really took off. So we were able to start going a little bit more. And then we just kind of kept joking about me starting a blog. And I was like, well, if I can make $5, then I can write the trips off on our taxes. And so I started working on it, and it's been really fun, and gotten to meet a lot of people and been able to go to the parks more. And so we got really excited with that. So we've done tons of trips to Disney World. And then we've been to Universal a few times, and now we're finally going over to Disneyland.
So here's the question I have for you, because I think it's different for everybody, but I think we've only talked for about 10, 15 minutes at this point, but I think we have a lot in common. You kind of went down for this race, and we're going to Walt Disney World as like a compromise, right? To kind of keep everyone happy, like we're going down. And then you fell in love with, you said you kind of fell in love with the place. You went there, and it was something that tugged at your heart. You liked it. You thought, I got to come back. I mean, you started a blog, so you really, really did like it. But what, if you had to like quantify, what was it about Walt Disney World? Maybe that first trip, the second trip. For me, it's the logistics of the place. Like, that's my example. It's just I'm this way at the cruise ships too, right? That so many people live on the cruise ships, and that they never stop. Like when you think about a cruise ship, and it doesn't matter if it's Disney, I think Disney Cruise on all the time, because that's my line, but it's the same for Royal or whatever. Right. But my cruise ends, and I'll walk off that ship. But 4 hours later, somebody else's vacation, like somebody else is in my stateroom, and they're having like they're having that first moment of, I just walked into that room. It's the best room ever. I'm going to my first dinner. Like it. Yeah. It's nonstop, and that's how Walt Disney World is, and there's just, it's 365, 24/7, and everything's perfectly manicured, and the resorts, something's happening all the time. That's what it is for me. It's logistics. But what is there something for you that got you so obsessed with the place?
So I think it was going into Magic Kingdom with my little girl. So I guess I'll say I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old daughter, and then I have a 2-year-old son. My 8-year-old's about to be 9, but so they were 4 and 2, and seeing the look on their faces, and they're experiencing the princesses, and of course everything's real. These are the and just that amazing experience that they had. And then also there was all the thrill rides that I was enjoying, and since we had all the grandparents with us, we got to do some date nights at Epcot and Animal Kingdom, and so there was, like, if I was by myself, it was amazing. If I was with my kids, it was amazing. And like you said, there's not like a place where they've let everything go, where you're just like, oh, this part's terrible. I mean, some people may have their opinions. I don't feel like that. The only place that I don't want to be on Disney World property is in the laundry room.
Yeah, for real.
That's where everything's broken, and the humidity is terrible. Like it's the humidity is worse in the laundry room than it is in the parks. And all the machines are broken. I don't know why Disney outsourced that and just let it be terrible. But so that's my only beef. But everything else is just, they do so well in customer service, so well on all the little intricate details. I mean, you can't run out of stuff to look at or experience. It's just, I don't know. I love it. And I love the food, most of it.
Oh my gosh. I'm with you there. And I'm so jealous because you guys, like you said, you're going to Disneyland for the very first time here. very soon, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts there because somebody that is so in love with Walt Disney World Cruise Line. Because again, I was in that exact spot. You know, I love those two destinations more than anything in the world, and I kept saying, Disneyland, it'll be okay. It'll just be okay. Like it's two parks. There's no there's no boats. There's no, the monorail is just a little short little thing. It's not the real monorail. There's no Skyliner. There's no this. There's no that. It's so small. And then, I mean, you've heard me for the last 2 years on the show. Like I absolutely fell in love with Disneyland. It is so, I mean, plus you're going in, like you're from Atlanta. I'm from St. Louis. The heat index here yesterday, 111. God help you when you go out there in July, you'll be like, what happened? It's like 80 degrees with no humidity. It's like the heavens have opened up. You're like, people live like this. It's gorgeous. You're gonna, I can't wait. You're gonna love it. So what are you looking forward to the most besides the nice weather?
I think, well, I like the logistics of everything being really tight, with having 6 people and 2 especially have really little legs. Not having everything really close by. I like the idea of seeing the original stuff that, this is where it all started. I'm really excited about Radiator Springs. I'm really excited about the Guardians of the Galaxy Tower of Terror. So those 2 rides, and the Credit Coaster, those 3, I think those are the big ones that don't really have an analog. I mean, I guess Tower of Terror has an analog, but
not really.
I heard it's completely different.
A lot different. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of either because I'm just getting old. Like, but
okay.
They're way different. I do both, but not willingly. So let me ask you though: do you have a first ride? Because I think with Disneyland, it is a big deal. First trip, first Disneyland. Is there going to be a first ride like intentionally?
We haven't gotten that far. We've got. We're going to go into Disneyland first, and then I figured we're just gonna walk straight through the castle to Fantasyland, and start there and do the stuff that they don't have at Disney World, like the one you go through the whale.
Yeah, the storybook canal boats. Yeah,
I think it was the Pinocchio and the Snow White and
Toad. You could do Toad right there.
Toad. Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, and and Scotty G's favorite ride. I got to shout him out here. Alice in Wonderland. That'd be a great.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you have the Mad Tea Party, which is not the greatest attraction,
but it's better out there because it's outside. I don't like it either, but out there it's cool. I don't know why. It's better.
Oh, there's a Mad Tea Party.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. I mean, let me tip at night, and you get awesome pictures at night. It's my screensaver on my iPad. It's just my wife.
So it's not covered.
Nope. It's so cool. Like it's so weird because Small World's even outside, like for part of it. It's a whole different ball game out there. Anyway, so I just want to throw in a whole bunch of stuff here today. So I'll make sure we get all this in. So I know you were down at Walt Disney World in January, did an adults trip. You guys, Beach Club, right? Is that what you said?
So January, I took the kids to Beach Club, and then in March we did an adult trip to Port Orleans, French Quarter. All
right, so let's talk about one of those trips. Get some highlights. So how about the kids? You guys went to Beach Club, man. They had to have liked that.
That was the first time we stayed at Polynesian for 2 nights before cruise one time, but other than that, I think this was and we stayed at Saratoga one night. But other than that, this is our only deluxe experience, like a real deluxe. We were, we were there for 5 nights, and that was so cool because, again, it's the kids stuff, it's the adult stuff. We didn't bring the baby with us. Which is, I recommend if you're going to Beach Club or Yacht Club, that pool is amazing, but it's not for kids that you have to keep an eye on 24/7.
100%.
You will just wander around behind them. The water slide is like you have to walk across the sidewalk and then come back in. And so if you're not going to ride the water slide, then you have to pretty much sprint 200 meters to find your kid at the end of the slide. So that, and of course, you can't just let them go to the water slide by themselves because they're going to be walking through all the pedestrian traffic that's going to Epcot. So my girls being 8 and 10, I could let them do it by themselves. But if they were younger, like 5 or 6, it would have been a lot at that one. But it was amazing. We were lucky enough to get one of the balcony rooms, not one of the Juliet balcony rooms. We didn't even know that was a thing until we got there. We got lucky. but being able to walk out the door and then be in Epcot in 5 minutes was amazing. Like it was a better walk than Contemporary to Magic Kingdom, in my opinion. Because
So
you don't have to go through the parking lot.
you mentioned earlier you're a runner, or you're
Yeah.
an athlete. Were you down there for races, or were you just down there for vacation?
No, I haven't done any races like that since then. I had a group of guys that I did them with at an old church. So my real job is I'm a pastor. But so I moved churches, and so I didn't do as many Spartan races, but yeah, I still try to stay in shape, but
I would say so. Those kind of races, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But I mean, I guess it's good for the spirit. It'd be bad for the knees.
Yeah, well, at least the Spartan races you're not running on pavement. So I think Run Disney would be way worse for the knees than running through the woods.
I'm at this point in my life just about crawling. This is gonna be.
I have a friend who he was a cast member. He's not anymore, but he wanted to do the races, and I was like, we're gonna sign up, and he was like, we'll do all 4, and I was like, there's no what. No, we're not doing all 4. Because I know him. He hasn't run that many races. I was like, there's no way you want to put 40 miles on pavement in 2 days. Like,
it's 4 days. I mean, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's stupid. That's why they call it dopey.
Especially because neither one of us had ever run a marathon before. I was like, we're gonna get rhabdo.
Yeah, but there'll be 7,500 people that are in the same boat every year. Like you're down there, like, oh, it's my first marathon. I'm also running 48 miles. Like, what are you doing? Like, anyway. But I mean, that's it.
And then we'll go to the parks afterwards.
Yeah, and drink. 50 miles around Epcot. You know, it's like, but people do it every year. I'm like, and that's why people are just like, you see people limping so hard that next Monday. But that's what makes Run Disney. So yeah, no, I'll see. Hopefully, I'll see you down there sometime. But this probably, I keep saying this is it. This is it. I mean, Bell. I can't. I'm not 22 anymore. I keep telling myself I act like it, but I'm not. My knees are 80. They're gone. So that's it. Anyway, back to your trip. So you guys are down there at the
Beach Club.
Beach Club. I mean,
I have to give a shout out to Jelly Rolls. So we're on. Well, I guess I didn't go.
Not the singer, the club. Okay, on the boardwalk. Yes.
Yeah, not the dessert. So Boardwalk was awesome too. So we stayed at Beach Club. We got to go to Boardwalk. I didn't get to go to Jelly Rolls that time, but since we're right there, we went there with the adults, and that was the most unique Disney experience I've ever had, because it was like half Disney songs with all the adults singing along. It was half, popular music. The musicians were incredible. They were hysterical. The staff jumping on stage, Coyote Ugly style and dancing was amazing. Right? I was like, this, like, Disney World is, I mean, I could easily say this is for adults, not just for adults that want to pretend to be kids. Disney World is for adults who want to have fun. And that was one of the coolest experiences. Abracadabra right there is awesome. I haven't been to Trattoria Forno since Bon Voyage, but it was great. But yeah, so it's just a really cool area.
And for folks that don't know, because we haven't talked about Jelly Rolls in a while, dueling piano bar, it's dueling pianos, and it's it's a good time. I mean, I don't know if a lot of folks, I think they were more in vogue like in the 90s. Like we had a couple of those places in St. Louis, and they all went out of business. Like there's none left, but I don't even know if Gen Z even knows what a piano bar is, but Jelly Rolls, man, it's a good time.
They do there. There was a lot of like bachelorette parties.
It's unique. Because we had them all over St. Louis for a while, and that
was the first one I've ever been to. But so for anyone who doesn't know, you request anything. I heard Living on a Prayer. I heard Metallica. I heard Hawaiian Roller Coaster. I don't know. I think they were even playing like Dr. Dre, like somehow making that work on the piano. Like,
nice. They had to have done Piano Man by Billy.
Yeah, they all sorts of of course, all the piano songs in Broadway and Disney, but
that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Okay, so with the family for that trip, the theme parks, like what are the highlights for kids of that age, and like what strategies did you use to make sure, because the baby, so you could go at a faster clip there for the kids, or some highlights?
So when the girls were younger, they were really into the princesses. We did Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for them one time, get all the signatures. And then my oldest daughter, especially, she's written a couple of the articles on my blog that are real fun, but she's gotten really into more of the history and the, trivia. Like she's a big Star Wars geek, knows all the facts and characters and all that. And so like she likes to study all of the character books. So we have the character encyclopedia so she can read about them. So that's fun. And then they just love the rides. My younger daughter has a lot of rides that are really sentimental to her. Like she loves the carousel, even though it's, not as exciting as a lot of the other rides. She's funny because she loves the thrill rides, but she's scared of scary theming. So, she would ride Expedition Everest when she was 6, as long as she covered her eyes when the Yeti showed up. But she had no problem going backwards at 30 miles an hour in the dark.
I love it. It doesn't make sense, but I love it.
Yeah. That trip was like, we're old now. That was the first time they ever rode Haunted Mansion because they didn't even like to walk past Haunted Mansion.
Oh my God.
Like, it's supposed to be silly, but it's spooky and, trying to get past that.
I get it. Kids are, I taught elementary school for years. You can't understand them. It's too hard.
So the funniest thing she was ever scared of was she was scared of at Coronado Springs, the Grandestino Tower. In the bathrooms, they have that like artwork from the Destino movie, the Salvador Dali Disney cartoon. And it's got this woman who's like a ballerina with the head of a dandelion. That freaked her out. We had to ask the staff to cover it up because she would refuse to go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
Now
I'm probably going to have nightmares about the ballerina with the dandelion head. I've probably looked right at it, never noticed it, but now thanks for my nightmare.
So that's the only article she's written on the blog. My 8-year-old, she wrote about all the stuff she was scared of.
Hey, that makes more sense than anything else I've heard today. I like it.
Yeah. So
oh my God. So, I mean, do they do stuff like, do you guys do, well, let me ask you this. So like, are you, cause I know you do like a lot of travel hacks and stuff to make sure that, I mean, we're all trying to save money to make these trips possible, to make as many trips possible as we can. Right. I mean, this is and we talk about this a lot over in the clubhouse on our Discord too. Cody does a lot with our listeners with the Travel Hacks channel. Do you guys do Genie Plus lightning lanes or just kind of go at it?
We had DAS under the old system. And so we didn't really need Genie Plus as much. Now we're not eligible, so we won't have DAS. So I guess we'll do more Genie Plus. I'm excited about it coming back to the more fast pass system.
Same.
Because I don't like the fact that with Genie Plus you have to sit there and stare at your phone so much. I don't like the 7 o'clock stuff. I'll do it because I want to get on Guardians and I want virtual queue stuff. But so we'll have Genie Plus when we go to Disneyland, which I think is going to be a lot more useful from what I understand.
It is because you can't start using it until you enter the park. I think that just makes it more. It seems just like a better system. I like that better.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, we do that. We try to, we'll put up the money for the individual lighting lanes to get the rides that we like to ride, but we've been enough to where we just like being there and we just like walking around. And so if the lines are crazy long, we'll just go do something a little more, out of the way, and not just wait in a huge line. Though the very first time we went, my wife and I wanted to ride Flight of Passage, and it was a 2.5 hour wait, and we waited the whole time, and we watched the movie, most of the movie on my phone while we were in line.
That's one way to do it. Oh my gosh, that's a riot though, that you could watch the whole movie almost in the time that it takes to get on.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie. I've been on the attraction 3 times. But
it's good. The first one's good. I didn't.
You should probably watch it. I'm again not a movie guy. I got to watch it. I'm a college sports guy, but it's Okay, so let me ask you because I want to get all this in. So you did an adult trip too, you said?
Yeah.
So dynamics on that. You guys stayed over at Port Orleans, Riverside.
Yeah.
You said?
Yeah. So we have some friends. The wife is a travel agent, and so she's also a teacher, and she was like, I've got this break. And I don't know what to do with it. And I've got these couple days and let's try to do an adult trip. And so she priced it out and we tried to figure out where we want to stay with all 4 of us in one room. And so we decided to go to Port Orleans, French Quarter, because neither of us had ever stayed there before. And so we did that. And then we did like lots of the fancy stuff that our kids would have hated. And so, So we got in and did a monorail crawl around to all the bars, and then and ate dinner at California Grill during the fireworks.
Nice.
And so that was good. We went to, I don't think we didn't stop at Poly, but we went to Grand Floridian and did the Enchanted Rose bar, and then we went over to Citrico's bar, not the restaurant, just the bar. And then looked at it was during Easter, so we looked at all the big Easter egg stuff, and that was really cool. And then we went over to Contemporary and then went up to California Grill, so that was pretty cool.
That's a great night.
Yep.
It's a really fun night without the kids.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
So then the next day we got up and went to Epcot. So that was fun. And we went to Shikisai for lunch, which is the newer sushi restaurant, which of course none of our kids would have wanted to be at.
No, wait, is that the super like exclusive
No,
one?
No. That's way more expensive. I can't remember what that was called.
Yeah, I forget what that one's called too. Yeah, because I've never.
Kumite.
Yeah, because I'm never going to that one.
Yeah, so Shikisai, they just took from what it's been a long time since I've been up there.
Tokyo Dining one, right?
They took half of the restaurant what's the other restaurant up there? I'm just struggling.
Tepanito. Yeah,
they took half of Tepanito and turned it into Shikisai.
Yeah, it was Tokyo Dining back in the day. Yeah,
and that one it was great. They had that purple. I can't remember what the name of it, but the purple sake, the lavender sake drink that everyone loves there. And we had really great sushi and some other entrees too, and so that was really good. And then we did that for lunch, and then I worked really hard to use stakeout and mouse dining to grab a reservation to Le Cellier for dinner that night. Took me like 3 days to grab. And so we did that too. So that was the other fancy thing that we did, which is the steakhouse in Canada Pavilion, for anyone who doesn't know.
So what do you think? Le Cellier, I haven't been there in years, but I love the place. But
it was great. Yeah, we loved it. It was really cool. Though I guess I should know from the name. It means cellar in French, but I was like, they've got this giant castle. Why did they not put the restaurant in the castle?
It's a good point. But see, I love the ambiance of.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was cool.
Dude, I'm a basement guy. I mean, like right now, I'm broadcasting from my basement. Like I could live in a basement year round. Like I'm cool.
Me too, but but it's just, if they would utilize the castle, then you could see the park.
It's true. They got that gigantic building, and who knows what's in there? I don't know.
Yeah, on our first trip, we did Monsieur Paul, my wife and I, during the fireworks. So we got to see not the fireworks, but the whatever show they were doing back in 2017 in the lake. And so, I'm big on the views, so that's why we like California Grill a lot. Like Steakhouse 71 too, but again, it's in the basement, and so if I have to choose between the view and the basement,
I've been to Steakhouse 71 like 3 or 4 times. Never California Grill. I've been there for like media stuff, but like when they have like events up there. But I've never been. I've never spent. Again, I'm too cheap. I've never been there because it's just
it is expensive.
Yeah, and my wife doesn't like fancy-ish food, so it's lost on her. That's why we go on cruises. I get the fancy food. She gets whatever she wants.
So I think your question was, how do I travel hack any of this? We don't really try real hard to save money at Disney World. We save money everywhere else.
And I think that's what a lot of us do, right? I mean, just cut corners to make these trips happen.
Yeah. We've gotten now to where all of our Southwest flights are pretty much free with points, and then we've got Companion Pass. So anytime I fly, my wife flies completely for free. So there's at least that.
Well, see, you're in Georgia though. I figured maybe you guys drive sometimes too, because
we do. Yeah, we used to drive a lot. I mean, it's still the drive there is not so bad. I mean, it's 7 hours, but the drive back, the Disney blues, when you're driving back and people are yelling and needing to stop to go to the bathroom, it's not as much fun.
I hear you,
but. Yeah, and of course it's cheaper to drive than to fly, but now that we've managed to get most of our flights for free, that's become a lot more fun.
Yeah, no, I hear you, because I used to only drive because I was scared to fly until maybe 6-7 years ago. So we drive down maybe 4 or 5 times a year from St. Louis, 15 and a half hours.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
the
twice
drive
as far.
home, that drive home, man, was rough. I mean, the drive down wasn't a picnic either, but man, yeah, by the time I hit Gainesville, I was like, oh, we're still got a long way to go.
One hack for any parents, young parents, is that I would fly my wife and the baby, and the baby was free, just sitting in my wife's lap before we started travel hacking. And then I would drive the older girls. And so we wouldn't have to stop with the baby, and she wouldn't have to stop. My wife had to go to the bathroom a lot because she had 3 kids. But
you're also happy wife, happy life. I mean,
yeah. So that's why we'd drop them off at the airport at like 7:00 in the morning, and then we'd get there at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. She's been sitting by the pool with the baby and putting him down for a nap, and so
you were going for like husband of the year every time with that move.
Yeah. but honestly, it's easier for me if I'm going to have to drive anyway.
That's true.
And also they can fly Spirit or something really, really cheap because they don't have to take any luggage because I'm bringing all the luggage.
I'm so glad my wife does not listen to this show. I mean, because we all fly now at this point, so who cares? But at this point, she'd be like, why didn't you do that for me? I'm like, I didn't think about it. Alex got me in trouble. I feel sorry for all the husbands that are listening to this that have wives that are that.
Well, in your defense, I have to pass one of the largest airports in the world to get to Disney World. So
true, you have Hartsfield. That is true. You have lots of flights coming out from down there.
Because it was like $30 for her to fly with the baby on Spirit.
That's not right. That's just wrong. Yeah, it's not quite that. We have a lot of Southwest flights out of St. Louis. We got like 8 or 9 a day to Orlando. We're very blessed because we're kind of like a mini hub for Southwest here. So it's not too bad, but man, it's not that. So no. Okay, so I will talk cruise line for a minute. I said we'd talk about that for a little bit. You've sailed a bunch of times with cruise line. What tips do you have for taking kids on cruises? Because that is, something where you got to really, what I've learned, because I've taken my kids on a lot of the cruises too. I mean, Mallory's platinum now. She's 16. So she's been on quite a few cruises, pages too. And I think the best advice I have is just, you got to really kind of prep, because it's not like Walt Disney World where, worst case scenario, if you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can catch an Uber over to Target, and get whatever you need, It's always tell Pam when we're packing, like, if we're going to World, don't sweat it. Like, worst case, I'll jump an Uber and just go to Walmart, Target, or we can just Amazon Prime it and they'll be there in 2 hours in Orlando. I mean, I've done that 100 times at Walt Disney World. That stuff gets there faster than here at home. Like, it's just bam, it shows up at the resort. But on a cruise, you do kind of have to make sure you have medications and all the stuff you need. And you got to think ahead. That's the best of us have, especially with kids, because kids have more stuff they need than I think we do. But what have you learned over the years cruising with DCL?
So our cruising experience has been really strange. Our very first Disney cruise was February 2020 out of New Orleans. And so literally we got off the boat right before Mardi Gras started. Everybody got sick on the next ship out with COVID. And so that was our first experience. It was just 4 of us. Everything was easy. We drove to New Orleans so we could pack the car up and stay the night before. So if we forgot anything, we could pick it up. But the New Orleans cruise terminal is awful. I do not, if you can avoid using, other people like sailing out of New Orleans, but it has been awful. Had to park in a dirt lot for $100. And it's like a half a mile away from the terminal. So you have to take a shuttle back or walk. It's Port Canaveral is so much better. It's so much easier. But it was really great with the 4 of us. The girls love to go to the kids club. And so we've got lots of family time. You get lots of alone time, lots of sitting around reading. We didn't, the food's amazing. So we didn't even splurge on fine dining yet. And so that was a really cool experience. Then the next 2 experiences we had were COVID restriction stuff where we were praying that we're not going to fail a COVID test 3 days beforehand. And
those were the worst. I remember that. Yeah.
We actually got COVID 6 weeks before our trip. And there was a rule that if you had it, you didn't have to get tested because you could get a false positive after you finished the disease. So we got lucky. My wife was pregnant at that point, and then they cut that one short. So they gave us a whole bunch of money and a discount on the next cruise. So we booked the next cruise for half price. I think we sailed 4 of us for like $4,000 on a 7-night cruise.
Oh my God.
And because we got to apply our bounce back and not bounce back, whatever you call it,
On board. Yeah, you're
placeholder,
placeholder.
placeholder, and the 25% credit. So we got 35% off the cruise. So that was cool. And we went with my parents. And then now we got 5 kids, and not 5 kids. We got 5 of us. There's 3 kids, and now everything's crazy expensive. So we haven't been able to cruise as much as we want to because we always have to get the special room that has the kids in it. Sorry, you wanted tips though. The nursery is amazing. Nursery for ages 0 to 3. It costs $9 an hour, but considering how much everything else costs, like $9 an hour is like a middle school babysitter.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I have no idea what it goes for anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so, and they take really good care. You give them the schedule. They'll even put the baby down for naps. They'll put the baby down. Like, so if you go out late at night, they'll put the baby down to sleep. And you can, they'll stay open late. I think I've even seen some of them stay up to midnight at the nursery because the kids are asleep. So you're not like being a bad parent. They're asleep and they're being watched. They feed them, change them. So the kids have a great time there. So so I guess I'll say this: you can book 10 hours for the nursery ahead of time if the rules are still the same. But that's not the only 10 hours you get. So my tip to anyone who's taking the baby who wants to use the nursery is the very first thing you do when you get on the ship is go to the nursery and book the extra hours, because they'll fill up, especially for at sea days.
Yep.
And the other tip for that is that if you want to do an excursion that you can't take the baby on, they'll keep the baby in the nursery. And even if you don't have a reservation for that, as long as you have an excursion, they'll keep the baby. So
let me ask you about that though. For the like, if you're going, because again, I've never used the nursery because my kids were older at that point. But if you're going on an excursion, say you're going to go to, like we zip lined in Tortola.
Yeah.
And the baby stays in the nursery. Do they have a way to contact you if so, like?
Yeah, you have to have your phone with you. So the only time we've left him in the boat was that the other 4 of us climbed down River Falls, and you just can't climb a waterfall with a 1-year-old.
Yeah, I would hope not. I mean, I probably couldn't either anymore, but that's why I didn't do it. That's why we zip lined in Jamaica.
So we did that one. And then, but you could also leave him in for part of your castaway key time too. Because it's a lot getting the baby out there in the sand and covered in sunscreen. Yep. I don't want to make it sound like we never hung out with
No, I totally hear.
But because you can't.
I totally hear you. I mean, I take advantage of it, and I've toured the Small World Nursery because actually, speaking of COVID, I did when the ships came out of the shutdown, like I did a media restart cruise that they sent us on, and we got to tour all the stuff, and posted on social media. And that's one of the things. I went to the Small World Nursery and I was like, wow. Like, even again, I was like, I had Mallory Ann Page with me on that cruise. So I could bring a couple guests, and, it's like, these are my kids, they're not nursery age anymore. They're high school, the youngest. But I was just like, wow, like it's amazing how well they take care of the little ones. I mean, the services they offer, and just, I mean, it's almost like not a hospital, but like that kind of care. Like the facilities were amazing, and the theming in there was beautiful.
Yeah, especially on the Wish they really stepped it up. But another tip is food. That the kitchen will puree anything you want that's on the menu, and then if they know ahead of time after the first meal, they'll puree. Like, so if you want pureed strawberries or pureed broccoli for the kid to eat, or pureed chicken, like anything they're making on the menu. I joked on another podcast, like if you want pureed truffle persets, like, and so it made feeding the baby really easy, and you didn't have to bring nearly as many snacks as I would have thought. So yeah, we learned that he really likes butternut squash soup.
Glad he does, not me. Yeah. Thanks. There's too much other good stuff to eat. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this though, for the other kids, or just for your whole family in general, of the cruises you've been on, best overall cruise, like ship and itinerary, you think, for your family as a whole?
So because our kids have been so little, itinerary hasn't really mattered to us because we don't do a lot of excursions. So we've literally just done Caribbean cruises. We like to go to Castaway, and that our next cruise we're going to do Castaway and Lighthouse, because it just I think Alaska would be really cool to look at just from the boat, but all of the excursion stuff like in Europe or anywhere else would just be lost on them, especially with the little one. Favorite boat, and it may just be nostalgia, but the Wonder was our first ship, and Tiana's is my favorite restaurant, so I really enjoyed the Wonder. But I like my experience is a little odd because again I went on COVID trips, and so I would say I love being on the Fantasy too, but again the ship was half empty, so I don't know what it would be like to be on a full ship, because the smaller ships I think are easier, especially if you're going to Castaway where everybody's at the same place. You've got 1,000 less people.
You say that though, but I have a counterpoint to that, because
Okay.
again, I did that startup media cruise, right? It was on the Dream. So it was on the same class as the Fantasy.
Yeah.
And I went with Mallory and Paige. It was in August of 21. I think that's when it was. Cause my wife couldn't go cause she was teaching school. School just started. And Mallory was still not in school yet. So we went down, Paige went down, and we sailed, and it was just like a media invite, like just restart kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on that ship for like 4 nights doing a Bahamas run. And the thing was, I'm used to sailing in the summer on a full ship of that class of Dream Fantasy, right? The big ship. And we've all said it was not as fun being on a ship that was only like a quarter full. We hated it. Like we always sail on a full ship, and there's like an energy. Like I know that Castaway Key's like busier because you have a little more competition for beach chairs, and maybe there's a little bit of a line of cookies for lunch and stuff like that. But I don't know, like I'm the kind of person, I need like the Tube or Evolution or the pools. Yeah, there's more competition for deck chairs, but like I need to feel that energy of other guests in O'Gills or in 687 or wherever you are,
or the theater.
Yeah, I just need to feed off the other guests. Like,
that makes sense.
It was like a ghost ship to me. Like it's the first time I'd ever been on one that was like a quarter full. It's just like we just kept saying to each other, like, this is weird. Because even the restaurant, like we'd go to Animator's Palette at night, and it was like, a quarter of the tables, half the tables were empty, and it was just like eerily quiet. Like I was just like,
I don't think it wasn't that empty.
I was like, this is so weird. Yeah, so I like a full ship. So anyway, it's no problem sailing in busy times. But yeah, I know people that do sail in those less crowded times, it would be a total different experience. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'm excited for you. But going to Disneyland, so because we got to kind of wrap, we're getting towards the end. So man, I'm so excited. So you're staying offsite though, aren't you? Across the street?
Yeah. So we're staying at the Hyatt House. That's one of the things that I heard like when I got into travel hacking, which is use opening up credit cards, getting the rewards, paying them off. Don't keep it balanced, but you open up a new credit card, you get the big bonus. Then you wait a month or two and open another one and get another big bonus. So Hyatt is the easiest hotel chain to use points with. Their rates are much cheaper than all of the other hotels compared to the price. And so the Hyatt House, it's got free breakfast. We got a suite upgrade because we earned tons of status with Hyatt. So we did that, and it's in walking distance from what I understand. And so that's what we're doing. And we're doing the 3-day ticket that they've got right now. It's it was like $100 per day or cheaper. Maybe it was like $89. I may be getting mixed up with the 3-day ticket they got at Disney World right now, but it was much cheaper than I was expecting for the ticket. So we did the 3 days, and we're going to do the Pixar dessert viewing of the parade. A travel agent got that booked for us. She said it was awesome. We've got a reservation to Blue Bayou.
Oh my gosh, that was my best. That's how we ended our trip. Scott, our families did that. That was our last night. Oh my gosh, Monte Cristos and Hurricanes in Blue Bayou. Oh,
nice.
So good.
So
Yes.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, that it's like inside Pirates of the Caribbean, so you watch the ride go around.
Yes, you're right by the ride.
So somebody was like, I was like, so it's like Pinocchio House, and people were
No,
like,
it's more. No, it's more. To me, it's more like San Angel Inn at Epcot.
oh,
That's more.
that's a great analogy. Yeah,
Yeah,
we love that.
It's dark,
Yeah.
and it's like it's more like San Angel Inn to me.
Gotcha.
Pinocchio's.
And then
Oh my gosh, the food's good there.
A light, was it Lamplight Lounge?
Yep.
Was it the
Over
Pixar
there.
restaurant?
Yep.
So those are the 3 things we have booked. I'm trying to get, and since we ended up bringing my niece and she can watch the kids, we're trying to grab I've got a stakeout for Napa Rose, hoping to grab one to take my wife there. But
nice. See, yeah, I gotta save that one. We did Storytellers for breakfast. That was a hit.
Yeah,
so
I'm waiting to see if the baby's scared of characters. He was last time. If he's not scared of characters, then we might try to do a character meal. But I'm not going to waste the money. Since the girls have done character meals before, I'm not going to waste money on a character meal if he's just going to hide under the table from them.
No, that's a good call, because those characters, that was a great character meal. They were everywhere. Yeah. Like they were just, so if they're scared, that'd be like the worst nightmare. That's one of the best character meals we ever had. So 2 girls, though. Are they like amped up for going to Disneyland? I mean, have they been talking about it? I mean, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they're super pumped. Again, my older daughter's been doing research. They've been watching. They like watching TPM theme park. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a YouTube channel that they're obsessed with. They like to watch the rides breakdown.
Nice.
And so they keep telling me random facts about the park and everything else. And so I guess today is the 69th.
It is
birthday of Disneyland. Yeah.
It is. So let me just tell you, because we got to wrap. But hey, I want to tell you got to ride with your girls the Matterhorn.
Okay, I will do it. I hear it hurts, but I'll do it.
Oh, dude, it hurts. But I mean, it's because like you mentioned, your one daughter likes Everest, right? I mean, what it is, it's the original Everest. I mean, it's got a Yeti. It's got like Bigfoot in it. I mean, it is rough. I mean, it is rough. But I can't get enough of it. But it kills. I mean, it's like Space Mountain of Walt Disney World kills me. Like I can hardly get out of the thing anymore. I mean, it's so I love that ride, but it just does not love me back. And the Matterhorn's like 10 times worse. But
I don't like Barnstormer. Barnstormer sits weird on my back.
You get on that? I can't even get on that anymore. I can't fit hardly. Like I'm 6'3".
It's weird. It's the way it's like curved for a little kid's back, and so the top of the chair is just pushing into my spine.
Well, see, you have little kids. I just don't even try that out anymore. Yeah, I get it. You're being a good dad. That's what you're second dad to the right. I can't.
But my 2-year-old's tall enough to go on Chippendales, I think, or whatever I think that's the really kiddie coaster. So he may get to go on his first roller coaster.
There you go. Oh, and also real quick at Disneyland, that whole new Toontown is awesome. I went out there for the media thing when they reopened that last March. It's great. It's awesome because that's where they have Runaway Railway too. It's kind of hidden back in that corner.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just telling you. Oh man, I love Disneyland. I know you're gonna have a great time with your family. So, well, we got to wrap because we're getting a little bit long here on a Monday. But Alex, awesome to get to talk cruise line, Walt Disney World, tips for taking kids. Where can folks check out your site if they want to learn a lot more about what your daughter's writing, what you're writing, and just to follow up with all the adventures you're going to have out at Disneyland here shortly?
So you could go to seconddadtotheright.com, all letters, no numbers. And then I'm on Facebook at Second Dad to the Right. I'm on Instagram and Pinterest, all Second Dad to the Right. I was a big Peter Pan kid growing up.
That's cool.
Not growing up.
I saw the story. You didn't want to take off the costume for a remote.
Yeah.
I read this up. It's like me in a baseball uniform. Be a rain out. I didn't care. I kept my uniform on, just hoping it would dry out even after they called the game. That's how much I like to play. It's cool. All right, we're going to get out of here. Wish you a great Monday. Thanks for hanging out with us for this hour. We appreciate that so much. Don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to get you to your next Disney destination for no additional cost to you. Concierge level service each and every time. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. We do that online shopping. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys,
it's the end of Prime Day. Get all the deals. Yeah.
By the time it comes out, it's not. But
that's true.
If we're watching live, we have quite a few people tuned in live. It is the end of Prime Day. So if you are buying those last minute things you probably don't need, I got offered an LSU hat a minute ago. Wrong Tigers. I saw it because we have a similar retro mascot, and I said that's a cool hat. Then I looked and almost bought it. It was LSU Prime. You did me wrong. I'm not buying that on Prime Day. So anyway, back to the if you're using Prime, whatever you're buying. If you want to buy a Tigers, go Tigers. Go ahead, buy it. If you're going to use our link, I don't care, unless you're a Mizzou fan. BRGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. I'm all messed up now. You guys make the show possible. You let us do the videos, get it out there to everybody, the support, the hosting for our audio show. I appreciate y'all so much. $5 a month is all it takes. You can become one of our VIPs, and you'll get our bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. It comes out on Sundays most of the time. Coming over patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. You can give me a follow on the social media at BeOurGuestMike, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And of course, we want to see you in the clubhouse. It's where our fans hang out all the time. Over 1,000 of our fans, 24/7, all around the world. We have folks in Scotland, England, Australia, all over the States, Canada, Mexico. We're talking Disney all the time. We have folks live from all the Disney destinations, posting pictures and videos and updates in real time over there. It's a good time. So coming over free, no ads, no nothing. Come on, no nonsense. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/clubhouse. I'll give you a welcome when I see you over there today. And we'll also have the live call-in show Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. We'll be waiting for your call. Scotty G joins me for that. All right, we'll be back again on Wednesday with your listener questions. But until then, for Alex, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Woo! That was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Every time you say Scotty G, it was weird because that's both my brother-in-law and my father-in-law's name.
Really? Oh my God. Yeah, Scott, man, he's a nut. But yeah, I love the guy. He's as close to a brother as I've ever had.
Cool.
He is my good friend. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate the time away from the family. And if you ever need, hopefully we'll be down to Walt Disney World sometime at the same time. That'd be cool to see you.
Yeah. Well, do you mind getting me a backlink on the site or in the show notes and stuff?
I will do that. Let me save this before I lose it. Yep, I'll put it in the show notes.
Cool. All right.
All right. I will. Go ahead.
Yeah. I guess I'll hit you up sometime next year and then get on your schedule 6 months later.
I know. I'm booked until February right now.
That's awesome, man. No, I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
All right. I appreciate it. Take care, Alex. Have a great time out at Disneyland. All right. Bye-bye.